Hello, my name is Dr. Ruthie. I'm a professional sexuality educator. You can find my site over at exploringintimacy.com. I'm also the author of The Nice Girl's Guide to Talking Dirty. But today I'm here, thanks to the great folks at funwares.com, answering questions from moms about sex and relationships. Since we're in the month of May, I want to pay a little tribute and honor and respect to all the moms out there and moms-to-be and future moms and past moms and whatever the case may be. And so I've collected a bunch of questions from mothers, and I'm answering those questions this month. By far, the most common question that was sent to me was some variation of how do I have more energy for sex? How do I have more time for sex? How do I keep up with my husband's sex drive? And how do I get my husband to keep up with my sex drive? And how do I initiate sex more frequently without just saying, hey, let's have sex, especially for the women who found that they were always the initiators in their relationship. And these questions happen for a lot of people, but I think it takes on a little bit of its own essence or tone when we're talking about folks who have children in the home. Then how do I have time and energy for sex? How do I make time for spontaneity? How can I initiate without grossing out the kids or making me feel uncomfortable that the kids are around while I'm flirting? These all kind of tie together, and they become really different than when I'm fielding similar questions about initiating time and energy from folks who don't have children. So that said, it is also really important to remember that if these things were concerns for you before you had children, or if you think that if the children, suddenly went away for 6 months to this wonderful camp in Europe or something like that, would this still be a problem for you? And if the answer is yes, that was a problem before, or I think that it would be a problem, if the kids went to some beautiful place where I didn't worry about them and they got a great education and had fun for 6 months, then you also have to work out those considerations. Just looking at the things that are mom specific won't get to that other possible route. Okay, so I said that. But let's talk a little bit about this. So the first thing I want to say is that it's really, really good for kids. Now just bear with me here. It's really good for kids to know that romance is alive with their folks. This is a good thing. Now, we get raised to really shield and protect our children from everything having to do with sexuality, and we want to protect our kids. I'm all for protecting our kids, but we can overprotect our kids and actually do them harm when it comes to this, because we're not just raising children, we're raising children who will become healthy adults, and part of that is raising children to become sexually healthy adults. And what can be a wonderful gift to give your kids, even if they, hey, you guys are kissing or whatever their response may be, is to let them know that it's okay as grown-ups to have happy, healthy, flirtatious, romantic sex lives with our lovers, our partners, our spouses, whoever. And that is a message that children take with them as they grow up. And you know what? It would lose me a lot of clients if more people grew up with that message, because they hit whatever age it is that they're going to be sexually active, and then they deal with giving themselves permission. Sometimes their whole lives they deal with that, but then also folks grow up, get married, and then they don't have a pattern or any sense of mentorship for what it is to be sexual as a parent, because they always saw their parents as non-sexual. Now, if you don't want to be sexual, if sexuality is not a part of your relationship with your partner, then that's fine. You don't have to force anything like that for your kids. But if it's something that you're interested in, you want to have that kind of intimacy as a part of your life, then it's okay for your kids to know that, because we can set up an appropriate boundary in the conversations that we have with our kids or in the role modeling we do, that this is a loving, wonderful thing for grown-ups to be doing with other consenting grown-ups. And when you reach that age, then that may be a wonderful thing that you want in your life, and now you have healthy role modeling for that. So it can be a really big adjustment to be okay with our kids knowing that we are in love with somebody, in lust with somebody, and are having great makey-outy times and sex with somebody. So how do we do this and bridge this gap in a way that's appropriate? That's a really good question. I encourage adults to be okay with flirting and physical contact in front of their kids. Holding hands, snuggling up on the couch. The kids, you can have mommy and mommy, daddy and daddy, mommy and daddy time, where you're sitting next to each other and the kid isn't sitting between you or isn't directly on your lap, right? You can have that time. You can be like, nope, I'm snuggling with mommy, I'm snuggling with daddy right now, and I love you, but you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to sit on the other side, or you're gonna have to hit the other chair. We're gonna have movie night, and you're gonna bring your big floor cushion out and lay on that. To the kid. And so just reasserting that you have more sides to your identity than mom. You're also, a woman. If you are sexually active, then you are a lover, or you want to be a lover maybe. You are all of those other attributes and qualities that you have. You're an amazing person, all these great things, and you're also a mom. And your whole life will oftentimes revolve around mothering when you are a mom, or any parent of any gender. But it's also important to remember that you have to defend those other identities of yours as well, and that means making time for them and not being ashamed of putting them first from time to time. It is really good for your kids to see that, because I think we all hope that our own kids can maintain those essential pieces of their identity as they grow up, and so making ourselves do that and being proud of that is really good for us and for them. So that is my suggestion, is to begin to have that physical proximity again. It is okay if your kids overhear a little bit of your lovemaking through the wall or the door. I know, gasp, clutch your pearls. But again, this is grown-up time. This is what loving adults do with each other. If they want to know what's going on in there, an age-appropriate answer is fine. Mommy and daddy like to spend a little time together doing mommy-daddy things, daddy-daddy things, mommy-mommy things. So that sort of answer is fine. What are you guys doing in there? Well, we like to play wrestle the way that grown-ups do. Or if you want to go ahead and lay it out there, we're having sex, we're making love. Whatever answer is appropriate in your family and with that age range, that's fine. I just don't want to scare you guys too much. But I know that some of you will be watching this and saying, oh my goodness, my children already know. And so good for you. Good for them. So not fearing that is good. And once you open those doors, then being flirtatious is really easy to do, because there's less of those hang-ups, and you realize that that can be integrated into time where the children are around. You can make time to smooch in the kitchen. You can, roll yourself out from under the car and give each other a big hug and a tickle, whatever the case may be, and that helps to set that up a little bit. What you're doing is you're setting a tone and a context where lovemaking and physical intimacy can more easily occur, because you have a more diverse identity in addition to mother. Now, the other thing that goes with that is being okay with prioritizing time for that, with arranging childcare for that situation. If your child is old enough to be in a different room unattended for a while, setting up the movie and, having daddy time upstairs. Or, wherever your bedroom happens to be. And it's okay to have a lock on your door, too. You don't need to use it all the time. But if somebody bursting in is of concern, then it's okay to give yourself that moment where you can pull yourself together and open the door yourself. So that is, again, prioritizing that part of your identity. I know it's easier said than done, but it's one of those front-heavy sort of assignments, okay? So once you start putting the work into making the change, the initial transition is challenging, but the payoffs are great and will last the rest of your life. And those payoffs mean that it's less work once that initial transition begins to take place. And again, you're giving your kids a really great gift at the same time. So this is the groundwork. This is a framework to begin from. And once you get yourself into a better place where there's more space for intimacy, those positive behaviors can kind of start to sneak in on their own without you having to work on it so hard. I'm Dr. Ruthie. Keep tuning in for these videos for moms. Thanks to Funwares, and I will see you at the next video.